Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Tony?
Oh, good. What time is it where you are?
It is 5 minutes after 2 in the afternoon.
Don't you just love this? It's 5 minutes after 6 a.m.
You're an
So
early, you're an early bird.
we're around the world. We're worldwide.
Yeah.
Um, well, the thing I wanted to, or the things, the stuff and things that I wanted to talk to you about was kind of this whole ecosystem of home builders, remodelers, trades, contractors, home builders association, kind of the entire ecosystem. Because you have experience with home builders associations and all those contractors, um, you kind of see that world maybe a little differently or a little holistically than maybe just a contractor in that space or a home builder association in that space. So tell me, let's start just economically. I was watching somebody's YouTube channel. I wish I could plug it, but they were talking about how uh, inventory, home residential inventory on home sales is different around the country. We all know that a little bit, but if you think about it, the way they described it was because the Northeast is so crowded, there's not a lot of new homes being built in the Northeast. Not only is it crowded, it's freaking expensive to build. So, not a lot of new homes being built in the Northeast, more remodeling being done. Some of the states they named that most of the new building was going on was like Washington, Colorado, Texas, Florida, Oklahoma, which is yeah, yeah. And so, kind of with that as a backdrop, and you think about the markets of these businesses and these associations, what do you see the role of home builders associations being in this ecosystem?
It would be my perspective of it because I'm sure that the National Home Builders Association has an idea or a guideline of this. When I first started working with the Oklahoma Home Builders Association, I was told that it was kind of like a country club for builders. And so it kind of is. It's a social group for builders and any trades that want to do work with builders. So a way for them to connect and grow their businesses. So I think overall the HBA provides an entity, an umbrella, a forum for builders and all other trades to connect to grow their business. But it also connects them with important resources like the state might have lobbyists to lobby against particular regulations that may be coming out. So in the state of Oklahoma, there was a regulation about sprinkler systems and per square footage of home, and that regulation would have created havoc in some ways for builders. So lobbyists can go out with the state and they can lobby against whatever regulations may be upcoming. But also workers' comp, insurance, there's a lot of resources that the HPA under their umbrella can provide. So I think it's a hugely valuable resource, but and we're probably going to get to this in a moment, but I think from my perspective, probably a lot of trades people, builders, remodelers don't even know that it exists or why they should even be a member.
Well, first of all, I mean, it sounds like a great organization. What you mentioned earlier, that was your perspective. Do you think National Builders Association in the U.S. thinks differently, or is that kind of summarizing also what they would say?
I think they would say some of that. I think there's a struggle at the moment, and this is just the home building industry that memberships are probably shrinking. Um, at least from my perspective, with the associations that I've been involved with, their approach to member getting or increasing or awareness, it's not uh, it's not very thorough. It doesn't. They're not really taking that seriously, and so Some associations are even branching away from national because there's fees that you have to pay national. So national is supposed to be the guiding body to uh, provide policies and procedures for each home builder association underneath them. Um,
So
I
each
imagine,
state has its sorry, each state has its own home builders association. Is that
yeah. So there's three tiers to it. So national is the top tier, then state level. So the state HBA is the next tier, and then every city underneath. So
oh
or metropolitan area or region. So in the state of Oklahoma, for example, there might be, I'm just going to guess, let's say there's 30 home builders associations, one state home builders association, and then national. So it all plugs in together. When somebody joins an association, they're members of all three. And there's various events and things that happen. Like national has a massive event each year, which has millions of people to go to it. The National Home Builders Convention, which is often in Vegas or Atlanta. So your fees when you join an association, you don't pay as a what's called an associate member. So I'm an associate member, and I do web development, marketing, stuff like that. Anyone that isn't a builder is essentially an associate member. So HVAC, plumbing,
right.
whatever other trade. And when you join your city HBA, so Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, whatever it is, some of the fees go to state and some of the fees go to national. But me as the member, I don't know that. I just pay my money, and then the association has to
Mm-hmm.
divide it. That's why if the associations are feeling that national are not a good regulatory body or there's no benefit, some of them are pulling away. They're like, well, we're a nonprofit anyway, and we want to continue to do what we're doing, but we don't want to pay you any fees.
Yeah. Yeah, the money is getting shifted around. So you mentioned uh, less membership to these kinds of associations. COVID kind of threw a wrench in every in-person meeting, networking, event type business. Do you think we're seeing leftovers from that, or do you think it's just I'm, if I'm a builder, a remodeler, or even an electrician, I don't see that networking as neat in-person type of, let's go to the monthly association meeting, or I don't see value in it because I'm just too dang busy with life and work and all that stuff? Or why do you think there's a decrease in membership?
So I think the decrease has been going on for 20 years. Like it's not just COVID. I think COVID certainly impacted it, and policies that came out after COVID, remote working and stuff like that, have impacted membership for sure. I think it's more, if you look at the Blockbuster model, Blockbuster could have survived if they'd have made some decisions earlier on about streaming and subscription packages for streaming. It's just that the people in charge were just like, well, we don't need to do that. And then here they are,
Yeah.
it's bankrupt. And so the challenge I'm seeing, at least with the associations that I've been involved with, is the membership base is often a certain age and above, and the leadership base is often a certain age and above. And that age group doesn't seem to understand what to do with technology to reach a younger age group. So as that age group retires or unfortunately die, membership shrinks.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how I said that word 3 times. Wow. There's a couple of things going on there, potentially. If you're a business owner and you don't have a way to pass on your business to somebody else, I mean, your business kind of dies with you. Unfortunately, a lot of tradesmen out there kind of get into having a trades business because they're good at, wiring a house. They're like, yeah, I could wire a house. I could wire lights. I could wire garages. I could wire, So now I've got a business. People have me do that, but they don't, it's a lifestyle,
Yeah.
I work my ass off. and I make money, and I work until I can't work anymore, and I try to save. And a lot of tradesmen that I know are good savers typically, because it's feast or famine, so they kind of learn how to manage life that way. So maybe there's a little bit of that. There's not enough education going on about how to transition your business to someone else or your family, or I'm sure there's all kinds of different situations. One thing that I've just a specific example, one guy who's a sheetrocker that's one of our clients, he was like, man, we have a good business. I'm getting, he's 38. So in trades, if you've been working since you're 20 in trade, you've been at a long time at 38. So those guys age because it's hard work. It's just hard work. They live life without a net, and God bless them. It's like, this is the labor force that built everything. So he says, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get past where I'm going. And I look at some folks, like his dad, who's in his 60s and he's still working, and it's like, I don't want to be like that. And so I asked him, I said, well, do you have a number two? Not the bathroom type, but the do you have somebody in your business that's younger, that's ambitious, that you feel like you could train? I said, yeah. I go, start training him to be you. Not like you, but do the job you do.
Yeah.
So he bid jobs. Can he run a crew? Can he, be responsible? If you rewarded him for doing more, better and more, would he take to that? Now the guy, he'd never had a website. He always got referrals from contractors, so he was known. A lot of trades folks are known by builders and generals, GCs, and they're like, oh, we don't need to market our business,
Yeah.
We don't need to think about these things, because they don't think of themselves as a business owner. They think of themselves as a trade worker.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think so. Go.
there's kind of that whole dynamic that goes on, at least at the trades level. Generals are a little bit better, and thinking that way, because they're the ones who organize all the trades. It's kind of like a bookkeeper. Bookkeepers are notoriously it's early, notoriously poor marketers, because they don't have to. Everybody needs a bookkeeper, so everybody knows a bookkeeper, and it's kind of that way. But things are changing.
Yeah. And so on the builder level, I see second generation, third generation builders, and often when I attend some of these networking events, I'll meet the son of the builder, and then I'll see him kind of coming in, either starting his own building company or taking over from dad. But what we're really talking about is the understanding of the power of sales and marketing. And like you said, some of these lifestyle companies, sometimes when I meet an electrician, I go, oh, have you done this? Are you thinking about having a website, or do you have one? Are you doing anything? They're like, I'm swamped. I can't take on any more work. But that's because they're an individual, and an individual can only take on so much work. They're not thinking about hiring more people or growing. Some of the builders are a little bit that way too. And some, like with any business owners, some want to grow, and they have different ideas of aggressive growth or slow growth. But going back to the associations, some of the associations, just like other businesses that I work with, they're just not. It's almost like marketing. Sales and marketing is always like a dirty word. They're dirty words that they're like, well, we don't need it, we don't want it, we don't want to pay for it. But it's because they don't understand it. They don't understand the value of doing it. Like often, especially with websites, if you meet somebody, so at a networking event, you say, have you got a website? Especially builders, have you got a website? Yeah, I've got a website. That box is checked. They've got one.
Yeah.
But what's it doing for them? What do they get from having a website? A bit of credibility, because maybe the news, especially roofing companies, news stations go, oh, there's been all this hail damage in the state of Texas, and to be careful of any of these guys that are just coming into state and you might have problems with. Check that they have a local address, check that they have a website. So it's like a credibility aspect, but
Yeah.
they don't
Well,
realize
no, sorry, go ahead.
they don't realize the power of engagement, lead generation, outreach. And that goes back to what we were saying about the associations and possibly shrinking membership, is especially with the younger audience. So now we're looking at targeting people 40 and younger, whereas the leadership is 40 and above. Digital's the way to go. Everything, that's where they're looking.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how do you has marketing online changed for contractors? You mentioned, oh, okay, I got a website. There are some that say, oh, well, I have a website. I'm marketing. I've got a website up. People can go check it out.
It goes back to depending on how aggressive they want to be about projects. So let's take a remodeler, for example. If a remodeler doesn't network and doesn't do any marketing, that they're not going to get remodeling projects. They've got to be using something like Facebook or TikTok or Instagram. They've got to tell people that they are a remodeler and show them the stature of their work. The thing with remodelers and with trades in general is that there's platforms out there that will charge you per lead or for groups of leads that you might be sharing with other people. And then you have to respond to them to give an estimate or give, to set up an appointment. But that's the thing that I think, again, that businesses are missing, that their website, they've got full control over. They can decide how much they're going to pay on marketing, on pay-per-click, on Facebook, Google. They can decide that to get their own leads only, not to share leads with anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some big networks, and we're not here to plug them necessarily. And they do play a role, but there's a few that are notorious for selling a lead multiple times. And you get leads that are shoppers off of there.
Yeah.
And you do have to have your sales, I call it your sales system or your sales process, really dialed in to handle that quickly, because if it's kind of this competitive environment. And what you're saying is, if you learn how to drive or attract business to your brand, to your business, not through someone else's, you'll probably get better jobs, higher paying jobs. You might get fewer at bats for jobs, but they're going to be yours, because I think the fundamentals are still of marketing, even though there's, new AI that's coming out, and it's already out. I don't know why I keep saying coming out. It's already out. It's out there being used. More and more people hit websites because they search very specific things with AI and ask very specific questions.
Yeah.
There's this line between the DIYers that ask all these questions because they're going to do it themselves, and the people that go, I'm going to hire a professional electrician. And so, but they still ask the question because they want to understand how it works. But so that they don't get taken advantage of. So you could put a lot of education out there for people. And that's why you see these YouTube channels of people, even cement, folks in cement and hardscape, and they're out there with YouTube channels. I mean, who would have thought? You have a whole generation of, my wife and I watched this couple that bought a house in Italy, a stone house in Italy, and are remodeling it. And we're fascinated by it. And so you have these things that are out there, these new tools, these new ways of doing things, where, it used to be, it's like, oh, Michael, and Michael knows Joe. Well, I know Joe. Michael must be a good guy, And And that still kind of works probably in smaller communities, and I'm sure that's there. Um, but the fundamentals are still there, still the same. You know, people need to know who you are. They need to know they can trust you. They need to understand the services you provide. They need proof that you're going to do a good job and need
Yeah.
to evaluate that. And a lot of folks do that with video now. I know, you know, my son's 17 and at, he never turned on television the way we used to look at it.
Yeah.
He just watches YouTube
Yeah.
and finds what he likes and wants. And when he wants to learn something, that's where he goes. I mean, I had to change a fuel filter on a lawnmower. Never done it before. Looked on YouTube. I was like, oh, that's cool. Even in movies, they show it.
Mhm.
I can't remember which movie I was watching or show where somebody had to pick a lock and they're like in front of a door with YouTube on their phone. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
I saw the same video. Yeah, the same movie.
I was like, look at that. That's hilarious. It's in movies. So it's just the reality that all these new tools are available, but the same fundamentals are still there. That's my perspective. Do you believe the same thing? How do you see it? I mean, you didn't
So,
mention LinkedIn. LinkedIn is another place where all kinds of professionals are.
yeah. So I feel like if you look at the sales and marketing funnel, that's the same as it's always been. Marketing is to get leads into the opening of the funnel, and then sales is to nurture and close those leads. What's changed though is in the digital era, and it's so powerful, and I think this is what people are really not understanding, is a company before the digital era used to have a marketing budget. And they said, we're going to do radio, we're going to do TV, we're going to do this. And they would bash people over the head with the message, hoping that it stuck with enough people for it to pay off.
Yeah.
So you,
Broadcast marketing.
yeah, so I mean, there is obviously some demographic aspect to it. When you hire a network, they say use this radio channel for this, use this TV network, use whatever. But the digital age is that people are searching for what you do. So you just want them to find your website when they're searching for what you do. And so it's insane when people aren't adopting the power of SEO or the power of the social media networks or LinkedIn, as you mentioned, if they're B2B. And now we're coming into the AI era, and people are saying to me like, oh man, everybody's going to be out of jobs, and because AI is going to do all this and going to do all that. And it's like, well, when technology launches, the adoption rate or the understanding rate is actually, I think, it's really long. Like, look, think about a smartphone. Do you know everything that your smartphone can do? I don't. And it's like, how long have smartphones been
I use probably like 3 things.
out? How long have smartphones been out? So for us, our role is to educate and implement, but getting past this this sort of stigma that's attached with some of these things, I think.
Yeah. You know, it's funny as you're talking, I thought to myself, so we bought a piece of land, built a custom home on it, and we've been in it 2 years. And so there's a lot of the raw land around us. And so things like, you know, machinery that I rent, and I'm a little bit of a DIYer, but I know my limits. You know, flooring. So we had a daylight basement that it was unfinished when we built because, you know, things are expensive. So we left it unfinished. And so, you know, got to find the sheetrocker. I did the insulation myself. So it's kind of like, I don't think I'm unusual in how I'm approaching this, but as you get an older home, and your home gets older, like you need a hot water heater, you need, a new one, you need a new roof, or you need to add on something to, your home, which is most people's biggest asset. And so you try to take care of it the best you can. And I thought to myself, I should organize my list of all the people that I have used in the past. And I was just thought about that. I was like, I should have like they used to call them Rolodexes, the little
Yeah.
thing. But now there's so many options for
Yeah.
so many people. Even someone like me who's a fairly loyal person that would go back. But for example, the guy that installed our mini split downstairs, he, I'll probably never do business with that guy again, except if he gets me on his list, asks for a review. Uh, I would have given him a review. He didn't do that. If I got an email from him, like every quarter, every 3 months, he's always going to be my guy. We have a generator because we live out in the, in the sticks a little bit. We have a generator. There's a company. I don't know who they are. They put their name on the, little pad in the generator that when you open it up, here, call us for maintenance. I'm not going to know who they are by the time it gets time for maintenance. Unless I had them in here sending me stuff all the time. Because we get emails all the time. So it's kind of interesting how there are a lot of contractors like that don't have those systems in place. And I call them systems, processes, whatever it is, the marketing and sales system that not only attracts new customers, but gives them an experience when they buy, and then after they buy, keeps you informed and in the loop. And the ones who do that are the ones I use repeatedly or refer. I know a guy, and there's so many micro markets. We live in a town called Snohomish in Washington State. I don't know what the population is, but it's not even considered the suburbs. I guess it's still considered, we're in the country. It's like upstate New York. Well, what the heck is that, right? I'm sure they have neighborhoods like that in Oklahoma. There's so much population that, you can have micro markets and have plenty of business, which is also why it's plenty competitive, which is great for the consumer, and you can just dial it up. you know, so if you're not on this thing or constantly reminding people that you're there, you'll get lost in the shuffle. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah. Well, it's not like an eye-opening moment for me years ago was when there's I think it was called Feist Directory. It was like a competitor to Yellow Book, and so you had that big book that they delivered. That if a kid at the time reached the end on it, and so then they started coming, and you just threw them away. And I remember one day I was like, man, I just got a 4-page ad in this section and nobody else is in this section. And then I was like, oh yeah, nobody else is in this section because nobody's reading this book. It just wastes my money.
Yeah. Anybody can start a business, but to really get it to a point. And then there's the whole conversation of what are you in business for? And what I mean by that is, you can make a living, but that's what it'll be. It'll be a lifestyle business that dies with you, that you work until you can't work. You better save a ton, and you better live frugally, which God bless the people that can do that. But so what are you in business for? Well, to start out, maybe that's to earn an income. What I see most of the time when people grow is they start to have new reasons. So like if you get yourself to a place where you're not on the job, you have someone else, you have crews that are working for you, you're then in business to feed those people their
Yeah.
income. You have a responsibility as a business owner to make sure that they have jobs. Now they have a responsibility to help in that effort by doing a good job and getting repeat business and developing a reputation and all that stuff. So it becomes this situation where everybody has these responsibilities. And then you have some people that grow out of that role and they become, an owner, and they hire an operator. Now the operator's role, or general manager, you might call it, that role is that role is responsible for making sure everything runs right. We get in new business. We hire the right people to market our business. And then the owner is more, let's make sure we're handling the money okay.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody gets paid on time. They work with usually a CPA and a bookkeeper. Taxes are paid properly. We stay in business. Your role, or the reason you do it, shifts over time.
So let me ask
And
you this. What you were describing, would you say that transition, that growth to an owner's position changing to looking, kind of having an overview of the business, is aligning with working on the business, not working in the business? Like what do you think
yeah, that's an old
people say
saying.
that?
It's been around. It's been around for a long time. We didn't invent it, but it's a great way to look at it. The other thing I bring into play is, if if people are watching this and you haven't read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he talks about cash quadrant, and you have to read that because it's spot on. It's just spot on. Because your mind shifts as you go to these different quadrants, and the last quadrant is investor. So when you're in the field, you're operating to get an income, get job, do a good job, get paid, and rinse and repeat. When you make it to the investor quadrant, you're thinking about, what does this money that I have buy me? Does it buy me time? Does it buy me talent? What am I investing in, and what am I getting in return? And the trick is, how do you get from doing the job to managing the job, from managing the job to managing the company, from managing the company to being an owner that invests in the person and people managing the company, managing the jobs, and doing the jobs. And the trick is more business. If that's really what you want to become, or that's really the life you want to live, you have to figure out how to get more business. And that's where people like you come in. People who know the fundamentals of marketing in this digital age that we're in. And it's not an age anymore. It's just part of how it works. And as new technology comes along, we started this whole thing with AI. AI is just another tool that's coming along. Now, it's a pretty smart tool, and it's a pretty kick-ass tool. So was the internet when it came about. But it took a decade for that to even get to a point where people had basic websites. I remember the time when people are going, what's a website? Why do I need one?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I remember that was when
hard
a
to think
basic
that way.
website, and a basic website might have been 10, 20, 30 grand back then. Because supply and demand and competition, there was few people that could build websites.
Yeah. And not everybody on the internet.
Yeah.
Not everybody walking around with the internet.
Yeah.
So, as we sit here and kind of, this is a really interesting conversation. What do you think I'll circle back to the home builders associations, and you mentioned earlier about them losing members, um, and also the maybe a little of the struggles with contractors and builders. How do you think that ecosystem can be reignited?
So let me interject this a little bit too, because I think it's probably membership organizations in general. And we're looking today at the home builders in specifically, but I think that they have to evaluate what a younger generation would value in an organization like an HBA. So, and this goes back to, I think, ideas of technology, misconceptions of technology, or just not understanding like what parts of technology have value. So a lot of these home builders associations, they have a lot of data that they're not even aware of having, and they're not analyzing in any way. But that data has value because they can show through that data the value of being a member in terms of the business exchanges that are happening within that organization because of the organization. I think that's the biggest part of the mission of the HBA should be to demonstrate that the idea that if you join this association, you will get more business if you are involved in X ways is demonstrated through their data and their metrics. So that's where marketing might come in. That's where sponsorship opportunities come in. That's where different initiatives come in. And I think they've got to work that out and then communicate that effectively to their targeted audience.
So let's pretend I'm a builder, or I'm I'm somebody in the trades, and I really don't know what you just said about data.
Okay.
Can you give examples of what kind of information or data might be shared to
Yes.
understand how valuable that HBA is, and how valuable my membership to that HBA would be?
So let's put it into money gained and money saved. So, okay, Tony, if you become a member of our association, we save you 30% on workers' comp. We save you 25% on other liability insurance. But at the same time, we connect you with other people that save you money on materials and plug you into new innovative technologies, and also help you grow your business because you connect with more people. So that, I don't know what that growth looks like. That could be 10%, 20%. So we'd have to look at it. If we want to put it in layman's terms, we'd be like money gained, money saved, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. You're part of an ecosystem that it is connected almost instantly. You just have to learn how to leverage it, which
Yeah.
means how do you form relationships in a modern age, which is kind of interesting to think about how younger generations form relationships.
Yeah.
It's different than it used to be.
And there are some great digital initiatives like that I've seen through the HBAs specifically, where there's kind of like a builder forum where you will connect with builders from around the states to share vision and challenges and give insight to one another. You might have a builder that's only been building for a few years, or you might have a builder that's in a state that has a lot of restrictions, like the state of Oklahoma, for example, doesn't even have licensing for builders. So, and the building code's quite lax, but Nevada, for example, will have lots. So as
Yeah.
state by state things change, this network of builders can talk to one another about how they dealt with these challenges. So there are some great initiatives like that, which were probably implemented by National. I see
Yeah.
you smiling.
Well,
Did you have
I
it?
was just thinking of back to all the in Washington, the building regulation are pretty tight and they're getting tighter. And I was just thinking about our builder and all the trades folks he has brought in here, which I've gotten to know a few over the years. Um, and I just this is I love this environment, this ecosystem. I love what they do. You know, it sounds cliche, but home is where the heart is. It's where a lot of your money is tied up in. And so to build nice homes, to take care of your home, to have a home. I mean, there's a whole nother conversation about that, but, to power a home, all the things that go into a modern house and a modern home are just, if you think about it, it's a little crazy. Um, but at the same time, it's so valuable to have that kind of thing and to have people that care about it, that care about that they do a good job on your home because they want it, tight and right and safe, and you know, they want
Yeah.
it clean. They want it, um, I mean, there's a lot of people in that ecosystem, and I just love that because they're all living life without a net. They all don't have, aren't working for big tech money here in Washington State. We have a lot of tech money, which is great, working for the big tech companies, but not everybody can do that. Um, and so, it's uh, for me personally, this is who I want to help. This is why I think, um, because I kind of feel one of them, even though I run digital companies. I kind of feel like I'm one of them. It's kind of a weird thing. Um, my brother's in construction. My other brother's in landscape supply. My dad's a nurseryman. Um, so it's kind of in the blood a little bit.
Yeah.
And so any way we can help them, help the home builders associations, really, what'd you call it? Save more, earn more? No, you didn't call it that. What'd you say?
It was something like that, like the what can you save, what can you earn, like the dollar exchange.
Yeah. Yeah. Any way we can help facilitate that is what I think we need to be about. So I love this
Well,
conversation. We should have more of these. We'd probably go down a few roads
yeah,
and back
sure.
again. But this is more like, let's just talk about the ecosystem of uh, what would you call it? Home, you know,
The home building
local
industry.
home service.
Yes,
Yeah,
the home
local home
industry.
service industry.
Well, and you see what an economic driver it is, because some of the biggest crashes in the economy were to do with this industry. In 2008, the housing market crash. So
Yeah.
and that was, we don't need to go into too much about the banks and lending and stuff, but but
Oopsie.
and of course, banking's part of it. Banking's part of it. Mortgage is part of it. Title company. I mean, there's so many things. Title companies, electrical companies, utility companies. I mean, it's a lot. And the biggest life choice for most people, buying a home, their first home, the biggest expense for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great conversation. I love this industry too. You and I will need to brainstorm some more about how to connect this cycle between um, contractors, builders, associations to create value for everybody under that umbrella. And I think that's going to be a great conversation. And as we find the answers, powerful solutions.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I can't wait till the next conversation.
All right. Thanks for your time today, Tony. I hope you have a good rest of your morning. I'm on a different time scale today, so I'm gonna head over to my parents in a little while to have some dinner, and we will catch up again soon.
Excellent. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon, Michael.
All right. Bye bye.